In today's video, we'll be comparing the Voigtlander Nokton 25mm 0.95 to my Sigma 18 35mm. A lot of people on my channel have been recommending native Micro Four Thirds lenses for the Pocket 4K, so the first native lens we're going to be looking at is the Nokton 25mm. Let's start with the field of view. The Nokton on the Pocket 4K is equivalent to around 47mm, while the Sigma Speed Boosted has a range of 24mm to 47. It's clear who will win this one, but if you don't need the range, the Nokton is a pretty good field of view. Not too tight and not too wide. Next up is sharpness. Wide open at 0.95, the Nokton is pretty soft, especially around the edges. Looking at the shot with my wife, it almost looks like it has a Pro Mist filtered install on it. Stop down at 8.0, it's pretty sharp. It's hard to tell the difference between the two, so it boils down to how much do you care about edge-to-edge sharpness at wide open. Yes, you can stop down the Nokton, but what's the point of buying a 0.95 lens if you're not gonna use it? Bokeh. Now, bokeh is really hard to judge since everyone has their own taste of what looks good. But what I can show you is that the Nokton has this decagon-shaped bokeh. But if you open up to 0.95 wide open, they round up, which is kind of weird. The Sigma, on the other hand, has circle bokeh all throughout, which looks more appealing to me. Low light. Now it's obvious who's gonna take this one. Even at Sigma Speed Boosted at 1.2, the Nokton wide open is 0.95, which is almost 2/3 stops more. It's pretty impressive. So much light intake. With of course the caveat of the softness. Nokton takes low light. Build quality. Yes, the Nokton is much smaller than the Sigma, but it's well made. It feels great, you won't be afraid to drop this thing. But I've used the Sigma 18 35mm since it first came out in 2013. It can take a beating too. However, if it boils down to it, I'm gonna give it to the Nokton. Okay, now lens on a gimbal. Lens on a gimbal is gonna be obvious again. The Nokton is much smaller. So using it on a gimbal like the Ronin S is pretty awesome. However, be careful because the lens when focusing from minimum to infinity retracts quite a bit, which could most definitely throw off your balance. Which takes us to our next point, focus throw. Depending on who you ask, the Nokton's focus throw might be a good thing, but for me it is not. Going from close focus to infinity, you will have to rotate the lens forever. The Sigma, I can go from close to infinity in just a couple of turns, which again takes us to our next point, close focus. Nokton can focus all the way down to 0.17 meters or 7 inches, while the Sigma can focus all the way down to 0.28 meters or 11 inches. Nokton takes the W on this one. It can get really close, which is freaking incredible. Alright, let's look at skin tones. Both lenses look great with skin tones. Here's a shot at aperture f4.0 on both lenses. You can definitely see the Nokton is less sharper than the Sigma 1835. If you look at her skin, it almost looks like there's a little bit of blur on her face. Okay, flaring. One of the things I automatically notice between these two lenses are the flares. The Nokton has that ninja star flare, as you can see here on the top right, while the Sigma, in my opinion, controls the flare a little bit better. Now that's totally my opinion. You guys out there might like the ninja star of the Nokton, but for me, the flare goes to Sigma. Alright, next thing is manual aperture versus electronic. So the Nokton is a fully manual lens, meaning you have to change your aperture on the lens itself instead of the camera body. I used to hate manual aperture, but I've come to embrace it after using size contact lenses. Something to watch out for with the Nokton is that the aperture ring can get changed quite easily. The stops on the aperture rings aren't clickless, but I don't know, it's just not as secure as other manual lenses. So make sure before you press record to check if you are on the right aperture because they move quite easily. Finally, the price. For me, the value of the Sigma 1835mm is better than the Nokton, since technically you're getting a 24mm to 47mm at 1.2 when using the speed booster. However, if you think that the Sigma is just way too big for you, I think the Nokton is a pretty kick-ass lens for the price point. Overall, I'll be keeping my Sigma 1835 because I just have so much use for this lens. I even use it on my Canon 60 Mark II on the 35mm end at 1.8. Alright guys, so which lens would you like for me to test out next? Like always, if you have any questions, let me know, and I'll see you guys later.